Greetings, I'm the Bulgarian Troglodyte. Today I'm gonna talk about my top 7 South Korean directors. I know 7 is a bit of a weird number, but I couldn't come up with 10 directors from who I have seen enough films to consider them to be on a list like this. So I ended up going with 7 directors. So this video should be a bit quicker than usual, especially as I feel like I don't have that much to say about most of these directors. With many of these directors, I really need to rewatch their films and also watch some films that I haven't seen yet. But also in the end of the video, I'm gonna show some Korean films that I'm really excited to watch that I haven't seen yet. And then I'm also gonna recommend you guys one very underrated Korean masterpiece that not many people know of. But anyway, let's go through these directors first. So my number 1 is Chang-dong. By the way, I forgot to say that. Go watch Ronin's list as well, because this is once again a response video to him, of course. And I'm shooting this video straight after checking out Ronin's video. Yeah. But yeah, I absolutely love Lee Chang-dong. I've of course talked about him quite a lot on my channel, and we even did a podcast on the film Oasis. That was a great chat. But I have seen all of his films except this one, this short film that came out a couple of years ago. And then he has a new film coming out soon. He's working on it, so I'm very much looking forward to watching that one. And if it ends up being a great movie, then he will end up becoming even more of a favorite director for me, I guess. Yeah. But not a big filmography, but all of his films are really good, I think. And he's just kind of gotten better after the start, because his first film, Greenfish, is probably his weakest film. And then his latest film, Burning, here he's still at the top of his game, although my favorite is probably Oasis, but I also love Secret Sunshine and Peppermint Candy and Poetry. Yeah. But his films are very bleak, and he often has very flawed characters in his films, people that you might not root for, and people you might find unlikable. But that's actually one of the reasons why I like his films, because they are very interesting character studies, because the characters in his films are the type of people that you don't usually see in films. Yeah. And his aesthetic, I think for the most part, is good. Like, it's fairly methodical, but there's definitely handheld and some shakiness to the shots, so it's not like Kubrick level methodically amazing or anything like that, but it's still good and mostly methodical. Yeah. But yeah, I like his aesthetic, although I think the best part of his films are the interesting, unlikable characters, and also what the characters say about Korean society and the human condition in general. And he's one of those directors who doesn't really judge these people, but he just shows the people and lets the viewer decide what they think of these characters and what the viewers want to take from the film. Yeah, he isn't very heavy-handed. He just tells simple stories with complicated characters, and then kind of says to the viewer that, look at these people, what comes to your mind. Yeah. So he doesn't try to hit you in the head with a message or anything like that. And I like that type of filmmaking. And it's very different from one of the other directors that we're going to talk about later on. But he is a really solid filmmaker, and definitely go watch his films if you haven't already. He's of course quite popular, but not as popular as Bong Joon-ho or Chan-wook, for example. Then number 2, we have Ki-duk, great filmmaker who passed away 5 years ago. Yeah. But these first two films here I'm a huge fan of. So we have Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter and Spring and Three Iron. Absolutely incredible masterpiece level of films, and I think they are the best films out of all of these directors here that we are gonna talk about. Yeah. But his style is that he likes to do films where there is not much dialogue. He likes to do very quiet films, but that quietness usually really adds to the atmosphere of the films. And there are sometimes these kind of bursts of violence, bursts of intensity and ugliness, even though the films are at the same time very peaceful sometimes and also very beautiful. But there is always this kind of transgressive nature to even his more calm and beautiful films like Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter and Spring, for example. Yeah. I still need to watch many more of his films, but I have seen Pieta, which is a good film. This one is my third favorite. The Isle, really love that one. Then I've seen Samaritan Girl, so these five are the only ones that I have seen, but they've all been either good or absolutely amazing. So even with just five films, I can comfortably say that he's the second favorite of mine out of these, especially due to the strength of these two films. And we did again podcasts for these two as well if you want to learn more about them. Yeah. But great director. Also absolutely love his aesthetic. Like Three Iron was shot I think in 3 weeks or something, but it's one of the best looking films of the 2000s, which is very incredible. And Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter and Spring is absolutely breathtakingly beautiful aesthetically. Yeah. Then we have Hong Sang-soo. And by the way, I think if I would do this list again in a couple of years, I feel like Hong Sang-soo might actually end up becoming my favorite one. But I just need to see more films from him to say that he is a favorite of mine. Yeah, because he makes the type of films that I love now that I'm a bit older. So he makes films where there are like a couple of people and they just sit around, eat and talk. And I love that type of cinema a lot. Simple but thought-provoking cinema. He's very much like Hamaguchi or Eric Romer, but he also likes to play with the narrative a lot. So he's, for example, made a film where like the same film kind of happens twice inside that one film, but then there's like small differences between the same story being told twice. Then he's played with the narrative in a way that where the scenes are in a well, not in a random order, because of course he thought where the scenes would go, but in the way that they aren't like in a chronological order. So he likes to play with the narrative sometimes, which is very interesting. But the main strength of his movies is that they have interesting characters and the characters have interesting conversations. Yeah. Aesthetically, his films are simple, but I like the simple look of them a lot. I've only seen 8 films by him, and he has made over 40. And he's the type of director who makes like 2, 3 films a year, basically. So a lot more to see. Sometimes they can be hard to access, but I have a couple of them ready to go, which are A Traveler's Needs and Hotel by the River. I have copies for those two, so I'm looking forward to watching those soon. But my current favorite one is Oki's movie. Absolutely love that film, and that's where he plays with the narrative quite a lot. But I'm also a fan of lots of the stuff here in the top row. For example, a great director, also very consistent director. But sometimes I feel like his films are always good, but they are very rarely like absolutely amazing. So that's one of the reasons why he is currently at the third place. But I'm pretty sure that if I watch a lot more of his films, I will find some that are also, I think, 5-star movies, like Oki's movies to me. Yeah. But highly recommend his films, even though they might be too boring for many people. Then we have Park Chan-wook, of course, and I've seen most of his films. I've seen the big films. I think pretty much all the big films. So yeah, my favorite ones are The Handmaiden and Joint Security Area. But I've also liked all the others that I have seen. But I really need to rewatch the Vengeance trilogy. I really need to rewatch Thirst, which I have on Blu-ray. Then this one I actually liked quite a lot, but people don't really talk about this one a lot. I'm a cyborg, but that's okay. I thought that that was a fun, quirky movie. Would highly recommend it. Toker is even very good. I liked Decision to Leave. So very consistent director. I think my favorite thing about his films is the beautiful aesthetic. Love the color contrasts in his films. Love the shots, the angles. Like he has a great eye for visuals. His style is very methodical, very particular, very detailed. Absolutely, I love the aesthetic. Of course, the films are quite transgressive. He usually does these thrillers. Yeah, and of course, thriller is probably the most common genre for Korean films. Like I think Ronin also mentioned that on his video. And I, of course, am not the biggest thriller guy anymore, but I think the Korean thrillers are kind of an exception that I can still enjoy them quite a lot. Yeah, but a really good director, especially aesthetically. Maybe you could argue that some of his films are style over substance, but I think there is plenty of substance there as well, especially in films like Joint Security Area, I think. Yeah. Then we have a bit of an older director. Of course, the most of the Korean cinema that people talk about is from the 90s onwards, because this has been the kind of golden period for Korean cinema, and not much of the old stuff is accessible here in the West, although there is a YouTube channel that shows lots of old Korean films if you're interested. I don't remember what the name of the channel is, but probably if you just type in YouTube like old Korean films, you can probably find the channel. But anyway, Kim Ki-young is mostly known for his film The Housemaid, which was a big inspiration on Parasite. And if you watch the film, you can really see why, because it has that similar glass dynamic to it and a bit of the similar aesthetic as well as some of the same visual symbolism. But my favorite from him is actually this one. It's called Burying Old Alive in English, and here it says Koru Eoyang, so that's the Korean name. It's filmed from 1963, and it's basically the Ballad of Narayama story. But to me, this is way better than either of the Japanese Ballad of Narayama films, because those were a bit disappointing to me. But this, on the other hand, I thought was a complete masterpiece and definitely one of the best Korean films of all time, I think. Although the thing with this movie is that if I remember correctly, the whole movie didn't survive. So when you watch it, it's kind of a incomplete version of the film, but it's still an amazing film, even with that sad reality to it. And then two really good transgressive films are these like EO Island and the A Woman After a Killer Butterfly. Really good films. So these are the four that I have seen, but they are all great movies. Very interesting, very transgressive director. His films are very similar to, I think, lots of the Japanese New Wave films, and of course, this came out around the kind of same time as the Japanese New Wave, so 60s, 70s. Yeah, but great director, and sadly, not as many people talk about him, even though, in my experience, he's definitely one of the best Korean directors. So go watch those films if you have the chance. Then we have Bong Joon-ho, who I've been into for quite a long time. I love Parasite, although I haven't seen it since I watched it in the cinema, and I kind of wonder how it holds up now after the hype back then. Yeah. Memories of Murder was my introduction to him, I think. Or was it Snowpiercer? I'm pretty sure it was Memories of Murder, which is one of the best thrillers of the 21st century. Incredible film. I think Mother is an absolutely amazing film. Well, Snowpiercer I thought was decent, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. Okja is a good movie with an important message, but I said in the lead Chang-dong part of this video that there was a director that is the complete opposite of Lee Chang-dong in some ways, and I meant Bong Joon-ho because his films can be very heavy-handed. I think Parasite and Okja are good examples of that. That the themes are very in your face in those films, and they aren't subtle at all, and they kind of hit you in the head with the themes. Although again, I still am a fan of all of these films, especially Parasite, and I find the themes very interesting. But maybe they could have been a bit more subtle and less obvious. But I mean, obviousness isn't always a bad thing. Yeah. But I still haven't seen The Host or Barking Dogs Never Bite. But I'm looking forward to watching those, especially Barking Dogs Never Bite. I mean, The Host doesn't seem like a film that I'm gonna love that much, but I'm still interested in seeing it. Then Mickey 17, haven't seen it yet. I've heard mixed things about it, but I will watch it at some point. Not sure when, though. Yeah, very, very good filmmaker. Then lastly, we have Kim Ji-woon, one of the other really big Korean directors that many people know. My favorite film from him is A Bittersweet Life, which is one of the best action thrillers of all time, I think. Incredible movie, of course. It has lots of cliches, but it's done in such a great and stylistic and even very emotional way that I think it kind of stands above most similar films. Yeah. I saw The Devil is another very bloody, amazing, dark thriller that I think is a great movie. Tale of Two Sisters is a very good kind of horror thriller film. I liked it a lot. The Good, the Bad, and the Weird is a fun movie. Even The Last Stand with Arnold, I like that movie. And I watched it quite a few times when it came out. But I haven't seen these others yet. I know many people like The Age of Shadows and The Quiet Family, so looking forward to watching those. The rest I don't know that much about. Yeah, but yeah, good genre director with great style. And again, maybe like with Park Chan-wook, he's a bit style over substance, but still a great filmmaker, I think. But that was my list, but now I'll go to the kind of second part of this video where I'll give a shout out to one hidden gem and then I'll mention a few Korean films that I want to watch sometime soon. So this is the hidden gem, so it's Café Noir. Uh, well, I said that in a French way, Café Noir. Yeah, well, it kind of was French the second time around too, but anyway, yeah. But it's by Jung Sung-il. I think he's a director who didn't make that many films, but this, I remember watching this some years ago and I was absolutely blown away by this film. It's an absolute masterpiece. So granted, I don't remember that much about it, but I just remember how blown away I was by it when I watched it. And many other people, or maybe not many people, but the people who have watched it tend to like this one a lot. It's over 3 hours long. And you can find this on YouTube if you just search Café Noir 2009. There are immediately several copies, I think even in good quality and with English subtitles that you can watch. So if you have 3+ hours to spend, definitely watch this one. Incredible movie, and I should watch this again as well to kind of remind myself why it was so amazing. But yeah, definitely watch this one. Yeah, it's such a great movie. Yeah, here are some reviews for it as well. As you can see, they tend to be very highly rated here. So yeah, so check that one out. Like even from this shot, you can see that it's a great but bleak movie. Yeah. But this director is somebody who I've kind of heard about fairly recently, and the two films that he made sound like absolutely amazing, and I have very high hopes for these. I'm pretty sure I found copies for this on YouTube or Internet Archive in like mediocre quality, so they are available that way, but probably not in great quality. So, but it's by Yong Kian, and this is a film called Why Has Bodhidharma Left for the East? So here is the plot about three monks in a remote monastery, an aging master, a small orphan, and a young man who left his city life to seek enlightenment. So I think these films are probably gonna be like really beautiful and philosophical and thought-provoking. Yeah, so this is from the late 80s. So of course that's kind of a period that we don't often see from like Korean cinema here in the West. And this other one is from 1995. It's called The People in White. And the plot synopsis: after many years in an insane asylum, a man returns to find that the village of his birth is gone, and a massive, mysteriously empty factory has sprung up in its place. So that sounds very interesting, possibly very weird, and maybe kind of one of those mindfuck type of movies. At least it sounds like that a bit. Yeah. But heard lots of great things about this. There is even a link here, as you can see, for Archive Oregon, which is the Internet Archive, and then YouTube. Yeah, but these are two films that I have like very high expectations for, so hopefully they don't disappoint. But yeah, very much looking forward to these two films. So, and I think that probably many of you haven't heard about these movies, so hopefully you got some good recommendations here. Yeah, this one is also one that I think I heard about recently. It's called 301/302 by Park Cheol-soo. Two obsessive compulsives, a chef and an anorexic writer, are neighbors in an apartment building. The chef tries to entice her neighbor to eat with fabulous meals. The writer refuses to eat, and this refusal begins a turbulent relationship that forces both women to delve into their past's torment. So that sounds like a very interesting film. Yeah, and it's generally quite highly rated here, so hopefully that's good. Yeah. Then we have a film called Mandala, and of course one of my favorite films is also called Mandala, but it's a Japanese film that came out a bit before this from the great director Akio Chisoji. But this is a film from Im Kwon-taek. And this one I actually heard about, I think, in the past couple of weeks or so. A story that follows the lives and interactions of two Buddhist monks living in South Korea. So this is another film about monks. Yeah, but looks to be another very thought-provoking and interesting movie. Yeah, I saw somebody log this one recently, and then I just looked at, oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah, maybe this is on YouTube. I don't know if it's available there, but it might be. This one I actually have a digital copy for, but it's called Il Mare by Lee Hyun-seong. And this one sounds like very much like my type of movie. In the year 1999, a young woman leaves her quiet seaside house and returns to the city, leaving in the mailbox a card for the next owner, with instructions to forward any mail of hers to the new address. In the year 1997, a jaded young architect moves into the same house and finds the letter. His reply, which he slips into the mailbox, finds its way to her, beginning a parallel time love story separated by a span of 2 years. So that sounds great. Yeah, so very much looking forward to watch this one, and I have it ready to go, so gonna watch it soon. Yeah. Then this is a very popular and famous one, My Sassy Girl by Kwak Jae-yong. So looking forward to watching this one. I also have a copy for this one ready to go. A tweepy, mild-mannered man comes to the aid of a drunk young woman on a subway platform. Little does he know how much trouble he's in for. So I think this is a romantic comedy. So I loved romantic comedies, so I'm very much looking forward to this one. Yeah. And I'm sure that you guys know this one, The Chaser by Na Hong Yin, or Jin. For some reason I still haven't watched this one, but I also have a copy of this one. ready to go. So gonna watch it soon. It's another thriller, very famous one, very popular one. So hopefully I'm gonna like it a lot. But again, this was my top 7, and again, there you had some films from my watch list, and also this one that I would highly recommend for you guys to watch. Yeah. But anyway, let me know who are your favorite South Korean directors. Let me know any recommendations as well from Korean cinema. It's a great country for cinema, and I'm looking forward to watching both newer and older films from Korea. And this year I've also become addicted to Korean TV shows. K-dramas are absolutely amazing. Most of them have made me cry, so they make me a bit too emotional sometimes, but that's okay. That's what art is all about. It's all about getting emotional, I think. Yeah. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Go check out Ronin's video. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Don't drink Coke at all. Sayonara and arigato gozaimasu.